Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to my Smackdown review. And it's also going to be the mixed match challenge review in this video also. And tonight's Smackdown was from the same arena that Raw was at last night, the Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado. And I gotta say, tonight's Smackdown, I thought it was a decent show. I liked SmackDown tonight. It was entertaining in some parts, though, but all in all, it was a decent show. So let's get started with the review. The show opened up with R-Truth and Carmella in the ring. It had Miz's theme playing, which we thought it was going to be, Miz TV, but R-Truth says, this is Truth TV. So he ended up stealing, the Miz's Miz TV show. And R-Truth and Carmella bring out, the guest, who was Daniel Bryan. And R-Truth says to Daniel that, he invited Daniel, to be his first guest, and that, he's got a lot of questions for Daniel Bryan. And Daniel's just like, oh, well, hit me with the questions. And R-Truth asks him that, that Daniel has been dealing with Miz for 8 years, and that, he could possibly beat Miz at the Super Showdown, and Daniel could be put in the WWE Championship picture. And Daniel then says, Truth's show is better than Miz TV, and so the crowd cheer for that. The crowd really enjoyed this whole segment, because they were all chanting "Truth TV, Truth TV," which was cool. And Truth and Carmella, as Daniel Bryan was trying to answer the question, Truth and Carmella then broke into a 7-second dance break, which they started dancing. It was funny. I was enjoying this segment. And then after that, that 7-second dance break, Daniel Bryan ends up saying, no, he spent so much energy trying to come back to WWE, and when he was cleared to come back, he wanted to be WWE champion again. And he goes to say that he has a lot of unfinished business with the Miz, because Miz cheated his way at SummerSlam, and he says when he beats Miz at the Super Showdown, he's gonna go on, to get a shot at the WWE Championship. It will be. He ends up saying it will be comfortic. I think I'm pronouncing the name wrong, from what Daniel Bryan said. And so Miz ends up coming out and says, to R-Truth, what is he doing? Because this is supposed to be Miz's show. And R-Truth says to Miz, 2 weeks ago he ended up beating Miz in the ring. And he goes on to say that if he had a championship, it would be his, but he has a talk show. And so R-Truth says to Miz, he ended up taking it. He ended up taking Miz's show. And Miz ends up calling R-Truth an idiot. And R-Truth retaliates back and says, I'm an idiot with a talk show. So then Miz then says to Daniel Bryan that, he knows why the people love him, why the people love Daniel Bryan. Because, he's the relatable underdog. And that, he always fights fair. And he says, that's why Daniel Bryan will never beat him. And so Miz says, he's not a coward, And, he wins at all costs. And that's why it's the reason, he beat Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam. The reason why he beat him at Hell in a Cell. And, the reason, he's going to soon beat him once again at the Super Showdown. And Miz ends up saying, he will do anything to move on to the WWE Championship. And that if, Daniel Bryan cheats, he will not only be stealing the hope from, his fans, from the people, but tarnishing his own name. And so R-Truth ends up saying, he's not going to tolerate, what Miz is saying on his show. And he ends up banning the Miz from his show for life. It was funny, though. And so R-Truth says, if Miz wants, his show back, he wants Miz to fight him for it right now. And then him and Carmella start, breaking out into another, dance break. So, and then Miz ended up going to the back. And, it looked like Daniel Bryan was having fun in this segment. So, and then we saw the Miz and Paige backstage. Miz ends up telling, Paige, she ends up saying, "Oh, is this a joke? Why is this replacing Miz TV?" And so Paige ends up telling Miz, if he wants his show back, if he wants Miz TV back, she tells Miz to do what R-Truth says. And that is for, Miz to end up fighting him for it. And so that's when the Miz went back out. SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back from the commercial, it was the Miz versus R-Truth. The winner gets, the show. If Miz wins, he gets his show back. He gets Miz TV back. And the match itself, it was, it was okay. Wasn't, a great match by any means, though. But it was back and forth between the Miz and R-Truth. R-Truth, it looks like, I'm having fun with R-Truth and, what he's been doing. And the Miz ended up winning the match. He ended up hitting a running knee, Daniel Bryan's running knee to R-Truth to score the win. And Daniel Bryan was on commentary throughout this match. And so how Miz won, not only he hit before he hit Daniel Bryan's running knee, he ended up hitting the skull crushing finale on R-Truth. And so, he was looking at Daniel Bryan. Miz was looking at Daniel Bryan. He was doing the yes. And then that was when the Miz ended up hitting the running knee to R-Truth to score the win. And so, yeah, so the Miz wins. Overall, it was an okay match. And, this is not the last time tonight that we're going to see the Miz and R-Truth have a match. Because the Miz and R-Truth end up doing double duty tonight. Because, they were in the mixed match challenge tonight. So pretty much it was basically, like a rematch of this match tonight. Only with their women partners. So, but yeah, overall it was an okay match. Then we saw a clip of Charlotte doing a photo shoot, and she then gets attacked by Becky Lynch. She comes and pushes her, and she ends up telling the photo people, you may want to get shots of this. So she ends up beating up on Charlotte. Becky ends up telling Charlotte, no one wants to see her. They want to see the champ. They want to see the champ's face. And so that's when Becky ends up, telling the guys who were taking the photo to take a picture of the champ. And so, the photo guys started taking pictures of Becky holding up the women's championship. So, really, like I said, really been enjoying, this Becky, this side of Becky. So that was that. And then we had the next match. It was Sheamus versus Big E. And before the match, the New Day ended up coming out. Xavier Woods says, they always got jokes. And, they play too much. He's talking about him and Kofi and Big E. And Kofi says, he agrees with Xavier that they play too much. And Kofi ends up saying, at the end of the day, they respect the bar. They respect Cesaro and Sheamus. And he ends up saying last week Cesaro beat him clean. And that, it would just be silly to come out and not take them seriously, not take the bar seriously. And Big E ends up saying, they want to play a game called, say something nice challenge, and then, they got to have a trend. And so they say hashtag say something nice challenge. And Xavier says, Cesaro looks like a Swiss Jason Statham. They end up making fun of Sheamus's mohawk. And Sheamus says, New Day comes out, says to New Day that, they come out with the same crappy jokes. And all him and Cesaro want to do is fight. And Cesaro says, it will all end at the Super Showdown when they take the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. So that was that. And then we had the match, Sheamus versus Big E, which was a decent match. It's back and forth between Sheamus and Big E. Sheamus ended up winning the match with the Brogue Kick to Big E to score the win. So Sheamus ends up winning the match. Overall, it was a decent match. Then we had Paige backstage. She was talking to Styles, saying that she is gonna take every precaution. And that, nothing happens tonight. No, fight is going to happen between him and Joe. Because this was a contract signing. Another contract signing between Styles and Joe. For the no countouts, no DQ match at the Super Showdown for the WWE Championship. And Styles says, he's out there to sign on the line, and if anything is going to be destroyed, it is going to be Joe. So that was the backstage segment between Paige and Styles. And then we had Lana and Rusev come out, demanding answers as to why Aiden English ended up attacking Rusev last week. And Rusev, says last week Aiden English betrayed him, and that he did it on Rusev Day. And why Aiden did that and attacked him on Rusev Day. Rusev ends up saying, it makes Aiden a traitor. And so he says for Aiden English to come out to say why, he betrayed him last week. And so Aiden ends up coming out and says, this is not his fault. And he says, before he met Rusev, none of the people cared about him. He says Rusev was floundering and lacking direction. And so he joined his side. And, when Aiden, helped Rusev, he made Rusev the most beloved superstar in WWE, and over with the crowd with the whole Rusev Day, thing. And he blames, he goes to show the video package of how he came into the picture and helped Rusev. And after the video package was over, Aiden English ends up blaming this whole mess on Lana. This whole situation on Lana. And he shows more of the video package saying that, oh, this was Lana that's, having this is why this whole mess is, happening. And Aiden says, things were better with him and Rusev and not Lana. Lana says, before Aiden, she ends up telling Aiden that before he came into the picture, she made Rusev an unstoppable force. And, that's true. When Rusev, came up to the main roster, Lana ended up, making Rusev, making him, an unstoppable force. Rusev was on a winning streak. She goes to say that, she got him a tank for him to come out, for his WrestleMania entrance at WrestleMania 31. If you all remember that. And she ends up saying, she ends up saying to Aiden that he is just trying to create a name for himself because of Rusev. And so Aiden says to Lana if she was going to tell Rusev about that one night in Milwaukee. So right there, is right there. You gotta say to yourself: did Lana cheat on Rusev? So because Aiden English has video evidence of that. Aiden has that evidence, and it was revealed later on in the night tonight. Well, it wasn't revealed, but Aiden ended up revealing that there was there's evidence. So all in all, it was a decent segment. Kind of less in on a cliffhanger with this storyline. So you gotta wait until next week for the evidence. And so when SmackDown came back from commercial, we saw Rusev and Lana were backstage. Lana says, Aiden doesn't know what he's talking about. And Becky comes and says, Milwaukee is a fun town. And Lana tells Becky to mind her business. Becky says, she runs this whole women's division. And that makes Lana her business. And she ends up saying to Lana that she's going to need Rusev to carry her bags. Because, she's not going to be able to walk out under her own power. And so, we got a match tonight between Becky and Lana. So that's what happened backstage. Sorry about that, but I was saying that's what happened backstage between Rusev and Lana. Then we had Naomi and Asuka versus Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. Apparently this match came into play during a WWE.com exclusive. And before the match even started, the Iconics were in the ring. It looked like they wanted to say something, but they were interrupted by Naomi. And then Asuka made her entrance. And this match was okay. Was an okay women's match. You had the Iconics on commentary through the match. Of course, Naomi and Asuka are going to take on Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, the Iconics, at the Super Showdown. So, but Naomi and Asuka got the win. They ended up, both Naomi and Asuka ended up hitting the double kick, a double kick to Sonya Deville for them to score the win. So Naomi and Asuka win the match. Overall, it was an okay women's match. Then we had Ty Dillinger versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This was decent, but at the beginning, it looked like Ty Dillinger, was going to get the upper hands of this match, because he was hitting, chops to Nakamura, and pretty much at the end, he ended up hitting a frog splash to Nakamura, which was cool. And at the end of the match, Randy Orton comes out of nowhere. He pushes Dillinger off the top, and the match ended up being a disqualification. And Orton started taking down Ty Dillinger. He ended up tossing Ty Dillinger over the announce table. Ended up slamming him back first onto the announce table. Then Orton ended up taking Dillinger. Ended up hitting the DDT to Dillinger to the floor. Orton had, Dillinger on the, laying on the apron. And that's when Orton then hit the DDT to Dillinger on the floor. And Nakamura looked like he was going to walk to the back. He ended up stopping. And Nakamura then ended up hitting the Kinshasa to Ty Dillinger. So Dillinger ended up getting destroyed tonight by both Orton and Nakamura after the match. And it looked like it was revealed, is this going to be Orton's new target? After he's done now with Jeff Hardy. Is Orton Ty Dillinger Orton's next victim? We'll have to wait and see, because Orton mentioned it in a interview, a little interview backstage. So, but overall, Ty Dillinger versus Nakamura was decent. Then we saw Lana backstage. She was warming up for her match with Becky Lynch. Rusev ends up coming over to her, telling her, good luck in the match. And Lana says, Lana ends up telling Rusev, Aiden is lying. And, she doesn't know what Aiden is talking about. And Rusev ends up believing her. And he agrees that, Aiden is probably, is lying. That he doesn't believe what Aiden said. So that was that. Then we had Mike Rome interview Randy Orton about why he ended up attacking Ty Dillinger. He goes on to say, to Orton, is Ty your next victim? Is he your next victim? Orton ends up saying no. And that the only reason why he attacked Ty Dillinger is because the 10 crap pisses him off. So who knows? Or maybe tricking people. But who knows? Who knows if Ty is is Orton's next victim? Orton says no. So, but it looks like possibly every superstar who has a match with Nakamura. I'm like, if there's a match with Nakamura, if a certain superstar is having a match with Nakamura, is Orton going to come out and attack them? That I'm getting this feeling that every time Nakamura has a match and he's going up against a superstar, Randy Orton's going to come out and take them out. That's what I'm thinking of. So then we had Becky Lynch versus Lana. This was a short match. This match was all Becky Lynch. The crowd was behind Becky, of course. Becky Lynch ended up hitting the Bexploder on Lana, and then did the locked in the disarmer on Lana. Lana ended up tapping out. Becky Lynch wins the match. So, it was a short match. It was all Becky. Then after the match, we had Aiden English was being interviewed about what happened in Milwaukee, and so that's when Aiden said, we're gonna have to wait until next week because he will show the video evidence of what happened. So that's gonna be interesting to see. And so then we had the main event where it was the AJ Styles Samoa Joe contract signing, and Paige was out there, She says she's taking all precaution tonight. And she introduces AJ Styles. Styles then comes out. Then she calls out Samoa Joe. And Samoa Joe doesn't come out. And she ended up calling, saying, Samoa Joe again, to come out. Joe didn't come out. And so, Styles says, oh, you think Joe is going to come out here? He's possibly waiting, to attack me from behind. And so Styles says, he's got eyes in the back of his head. And, Joe may not be out here right now, he says. And, he also says Joe has another opportunity at the Super Showdown for the WWE Championship. And Styles says, Joe doesn't follow the rules. And so we see Samoa Joe on the Titantron. And it is revealed that, he is not, in the building. He is not in the arena. It is revealed that he is at Styles' house. Because, he was there. He saw the mailbox that had the name Styles on it. Styles ends up saying, he's going to rip, Joe's head off. And Joe says to Styles, there is nothing that he could do right now. Because, Styles didn't keep those warnings. And he says to Styles to get, his phone and call his wife, Wendy. And, Styles didn't have, a phone on. He doesn't, bring his phone to the ring. And we saw Styles end up signing the contract. And Joe says he's got a nice gift for Styles' daughter. And so he goes to Styles' front door. He rings the doorbell. Joe rings the doorbell. And he ends up saying, Daddy's home. And then the show goes off the air. It just, went to black. And it left us on a cliffhanger. And I really enjoyed that. I really liked how they ended this on a cliffhanger. Maybe, next week we'll find out, if Joe went into Styles' house. So, but overall, I really enjoyed this segment. Joe is, one good heel. He makes a good heel. So, and what he did tonight, going to Styles' house, that was cool to see. That made the hype for their match at Super Showdown, which I'm looking forward to the rematch. So that ended SmackDown for tonight. Then we had the Mixed Match Challenge, which I'm going to talk about. For the Raw side, we had Bobby Lashley and Mickie James versus Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox. And for the SmackDown side, we had The Miz and Asuka versus R-Truth and Carmella. And so The Miz and R-Truth ended up doing double duty tonight. So the match kicked off with the Raw Mixed Match Challenge. Bobby Lashley and Mickie James versus Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox. This was a meh match. We had Lio Rush out there. Lio Rush ended up hitting a kick to Sunil outside, which was cool. And then Jinder Mahal ended up coming out there, and Lio just had his quickness and moved away from Jinder. And Bobby Lashley then ended up hitting the vertical suplex on Jinder Mahal to score the win. And so Bobby Lashley and Mickie James win the match. And this was originally supposed to be Lashley and Sasha Banks. But Sasha, was injured, supposedly injury. Sorry about that, but I was saying, Sasha has a supposedly injury because there's no, there's no article saying, why, she's injured. So, but Mickie James ended up replacing Sasha. So, but overall, the match itself, it was meh. And it's revealed next week on the Raw side. It's going to be Bayley and Finn Balor versus Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox. So next week we're going to see Balor. We're going to see Finn and Jinder go at it, again, but different. Only with the woman there. So we all know who's going to win that match. Then we had The Miz and Asuka versus R-Truth and Carmella on the SmackDown side. This was actually a fun match. This was a very fun match. You had it looked like Carmella was having fun on this match, and the crowd really loved this match also. They were still chanting for True TV, and you saw The Miz doing a like a moonwalk, where he was just leaping around. Looked like he was doing, how Sky Too Hottie, did his leaps before he did the worm, where, he would leap and it would go W, and the crowd would go W-O-R-M. That's what, looked like what The Miz was doing tonight for his moonwalk. And, it was an enjoyable match between them. But The Miz and Asuka end up winning the match. Asuka ended up locking in the Asuka lock on Carmella to score the win. So Miz and Asuka win. But it was a fun match between them. And it was revealed next week on the SmackDown side. It's going to be Lana and Rusev versus Naomi and Jimmy Uso. So that's happening next week. Along with Bayley and Finn Balor versus Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox. So those are the matches that are happening next week on the Mixed Match Challenge. So, yeah, so anyways, that's it for my review of tonight's SmackDown and also the Mixed Match Challenge. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow night for my Lucha Underground review. So I'll see you all back here tomorrow night for that review.